You know what I'm saying? We had the whole system was down yesterday, but we persevered. So anyway, today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to get this arena framework working in your business. I want you guys to know how to walk into any room and sell, make this money, and go head on. You know what I mean? We don't have to struggle. We don't have to do all that. But first, before I get into it, y'all, you know I get to talking. Let us bring in the Zoom. Bring it in the Zoom. Bring it in the Zoom. Ah, bring it in the Zoom. Here we go. Well, good morning, good evening. What to do? How are you? Hooty hoo. Happy Tuesday too. I am the sound of money in your ear. Avant. That's D-O-double-O. I'm often imitated, never duplicated. They call me the $1 billion babe, aka the pitch queen, aka the people's coach, aka Coach Dollar Bill. And you are in the dollhouse. This is the home of the OGs. And over here, we're getting off the financial grid. And I do mean off. We don't have time. So, guys, I'm working on a new episode. I'm working on some things for the Substack. I don't know how to summarize this without sounding crazy. So I got to go get my receipts. But basically, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a problem with the banking industry this year. Think 2008, but instead of a bailout, there's going to be a bail in. And what that means is instead of them taking government money, taxpayer money, money from the treasury to, save the banks, they're going to take it out of the deposits. Like, your deposits. And people say, oh, we have FDIC. Yeah, except for in 2023, I don't know if people remember, there was actually a bank failure in Silicon Valley Bank, and one other bank actually failed. And I got friends in the tech industry, so the people who got out first were like the ones whose investor, like somebody on their board was like friends with, somebody, and they get a call and they just literally send a text like, go to the bank, take out your, go, log in and move all your money right now. And it's just like, what? Like right now, so people just started pulling money out of the bank. The bank's crashed. So FDIC is supposed to kick in, right? If you got however many, if you're underneath the limit, they're supposed to insure you. That's fine, except for when they did it in 2023. Most people don't know. They had to borrow the vast majority of the money. The FDIC did not have the money to actually secure those depositors. Well, this time there's nowhere to borrow the money from because we've already bankrupted the treasury. So anyway, we don't have time. We need to be in a position where we could just exist outside of traditional, Bank of America and, Truist and wherever our money is. So most of us can't even really think about that because it's like, yeah, no, I need to get some money first, right? So my job is to teach you how to make money the same way we make a recipe. No stress, everything is cool. Everything is everything. And go ahead and do what we need to do. Have the money flowing so we can get out of the way. That's my job. And it's not easy to balance all of this when I get all this energy and all of the downloads, if you will. However, what I am happy about is the fact that I get to show up every day with you guys at 2:00 and kind of work it out together. So if you're into it, if you're down for it, thank you for being here. And this is going to be valuable for you today. So some of what I'm going to teach you is going to make you a better salesperson, because you really don't have to sell anything once you learn how to talk to humans and turn these human interactions into transactions. So I got my work cut out for me today, but I am here for it. So let us get into it for the day. All right. Remember this, because I keep asking you guys the same question. This is the third day. We're working on the arena framework. If you don't know what that is, I taught last week about the very simple engine that I'm building to prove to you guys in real time that you can take attention, human attention, off of social media, really any stage. Any stage. So that's if you have a community of people already, if you had a church or congregation, you know what I'm saying? If you had already have an email list of people that are checking for you, a community, if you speak on public stages as a public speaker, if you have a book, or you have a podcast, or any other social media where you're able to stand up and talk to people one to many, if you have a stage, you can take the attention of folks who see you on that stage, that audience, turn them into a community of people who have a shared experience about your work. And out of that community, that social network, some of those people are going to purchase from you. And what I'm teaching you how to do is to channel all that energy and have a very simple offer ladder, a store, something free, something entry level, kind of your core offer, and then some premium stuff that you can offer, so that your business starts to run like an engine, like a machine. Now, here's a question I want you to audit and ask yourself as we work through this today. What if you were, got people in the waiting room. My bad, y'all. There we go. If you have you ever looked at a competitor of yours, somebody who sort of does what you do, or somebody you aspire to kind of be in a position where they are, meaning they got more like views and things like that, but you actually listen to their work and you notice that they maybe have less experience, less wisdom, less skill. They don't go as in depth as you would, but they're getting clients and doing all type of stuff, and you trying to figure out, well, what's that about? They're charging way more than you could ever bring yourself to charge. Have you ever had that experience, or just kind of thought about it and been like, well, what is that about? Like, why are they having this experience and I can't seem to crack the code? I don't know if you can relate to that, but I've definitely heard that complaint from people from the dollhouse. Go for it, Tracy.
Hey, I personally know everybody that I see has a lot of views, and everyone I see that a lot of followers, they look like it. I might be the reason why they're there, because putting in the work. I haven't seen somewhere like the type of that kind of energy. I would probably have an experience in high school, middle school, because I didn't really understood how things work, and it always seemed like, oh, that student's so much more popular. But as an adult, anybody that I see personally with success, no, I see them putting in the work, especially when it comes to Black folks. Now, if we are just talking about Black folks, that's where I'm at. But if you're talking about white people, they got a seniority that's just based on stuff that's not even real anyways. But for Black people, it's hard for a Black person not to be 10 toes down in something that they moving mountains and actually getting followers. Okay. I haven't experienced.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I know that I've heard people in the dollhouse tell me that they're looking at somebody who's in a field, either the same field or something similar, and maybe it's just their presentation style, or maybe they don't just go deep enough, or maybe they're only teaching surface level. But if you were teaching it, you feel like there's so much more. There's a different angle that you would bring to the work, or whatever the case may be. So not necessarily that they're not doing the work, but just like you're like, oh, there's so much more they could be saying. They're not saying it, but yet they have this following. Like, you have this perspective that is missing from the marketplace, basically, but they're still winning. That's what I'm referring to.
Well, I'll say that just the other day, there was a student in the yoga class that wants to help bring more people to the classes, to the studio in general. And when I see her, she's an older lady. When I see her, her teeth ain't doing all they need to do. She's a naturalist. Her belly kind of out. And I could say, well, she says she got things together. She a naturalist, and she got 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. She says she got all these people, all this clientele. She's super busy. But when I have to think about it in real terms, I'm like, okay, one, she's an elder. She's one of, there's type of people, they don't practice what they preach, but people know they get results. So they just go to them, and then that network effects works for them. So she don't have to be, she don't have to be a walking picture of the health that she's claiming she can give you with fibroids and stuff. People just know that's the go-to person. And that's clout. So yeah.
Okay. So that's all I'm referring to. As long as you see what I'm saying, that they don't necessarily have the external things, but they're out here winning. That's what I'm talking about. And
yeah, for sure.
That's a thing that people kind of see and sometimes struggle with. Okay. Now, the reason that they have a bigger following, or the reason that they have more people checking for them or whatever, This is what we want to break down about that. Okay. It's not that they're better at marketing or anything like that. They might have been doing it for, years or whatever, but that's not relevant. A lot of times what's happening is folks are better at signaling their value. They're just really, really good at that. And it's not about external factors, but they when they show up, people see, they feel like they're worth something. And that may be something that you're struggling with internally, because I know I've had to deal with a lot of folks about raising their price and all type of things. Okay. The way they carry themselves in a room, the way they respond or don't respond when somebody pushes back, the way they answer a question, the way they use silence, the way they choose to show up or not show up for their community. With the way they're holding space, the capacity that things that are intangible are actually feeding into how many people are kind of following and tracking with them, if that makes sense. So these are not personality traits. These are not things that some people got and some people don't. It's not luck. Okay. This is something that you can intentionally, apply to your business. Okay. And the thing that I want you guys to start leaning into, because we're in the mastery section now. This is day number 90 of our 100-day challenge. Okay. And we've learned a lot over this 100-day challenge. Here's the thing I need you to think about. People who are winning, who have people who will move when they speak, they move, they have positioned themselves as being something that is valuable, something that is scarce. Scarcity, rarity, whether it's real or perceived. This is actually the most powerful force in the marketplace. Because remember, I told you money is not real, right? It's just an energetic, it's a symbol of energy that's being exchanged. So you wouldn't pay me for air because it's everywhere. But something that you can't get anywhere else, you'd be willing to pay for. You'd be willing to invest your time for, to show up for, to pull up to events for, things like that. Okay. Water, diamonds, they're not really valuable, but they made them valuable. Gold or whatever. These things that are essential that you can't get anywhere else. Okay. And even water, it will be very expensive coming soon, but it's not as expensive as it will be because it's theoretically everywhere. But the more you realize that most water is terrible, the more you probably be willing to pay for some good water. Right? They say gold is rare, so that's why it's more expensive than, a piece of paper or something that's common, right? So being useful, giving, showing up, following up, accommodating, lowering your price, offering stuff for free. When somebody hesitates, you just do it anyway. Over delivering, all that kind of stuff. Apologizing when it's not your fault. Instead of saying, oh, this is what I do. If that's not a good fit for you, understood. Being overly available, desperation, all that kind of stuff. It actually lowers your value, and it reduces your ability to be able to charge what you need to charge and to command the energy of people without saying a word to follow you anywhere. Okay. So we don't want to go to the other end of the spectrum, to the other extreme, and kind of be super cold and transactional. Not at all. But what we need to do is to learn a very specific way how to carry ourselves in conversation that's going to flow over to your content. It's going to flow over to how you do a sales call, or when you're positioning yourself to work with an organization, the way you structure your offers. We want to start signaling that this is scarce. This is rare. You can't get it everywhere. This might not be for you. This is not for everybody. This is exclusive. And that's what's going to make people lean into you instead of being like, oh, kind of casually treating you like you're just kind of common. Because no, you can't get this everywhere. I'm the only one doing this like this. Okay. So they should feel like when you say yes to work with them, they should be getting excited. Okay. And not the other way around. This is what I want us to do in elevating our positioning. So we're going to deal with that the first half of the day. A few more minutes here. And then we're going to get back into our arena framework, that stage, the place where you meet people one to many. We've got a scale to where we can talk to people one to many, not just one to one. So whether you're using social media for that, you're getting on live stages and doing that, whether you're on the radio doing that, whether you got a TV show, a podcast doing that, whether you are, leveraging any and all of these tools on social media, of course, we want to give you a new posture to be able to structure how you operate and how you show up, and people will respond to that differently. Go for it, Tracy.
This is fascinating that you described that in this way, because people actually automatically treat us that way. They automatically treat us like we're scarce, and then we do our best to try to bring it back to normal, like try to be like, no, like they're like, oh my God, this is so great. And then we be like, we try to devalue ourselves, because I would say most people that meet me, they want to call me their guru. They want to feel like, oh my God, like we want to, but then I'm like making the product and my services over, like I overextend myself, all the things you say, offering more time, sitting there, talking to them 20, 30 minutes after a session as if I ain't got things to do, and I got things to do. And it's like, we actually do that to ourselves. It's not even the client that's doing it to it. And then once we train them, of course they take it. And then like right now, a client just canceled on me. Like literally, he's like, he's not continuing the program. And he has literally one more session left. But I really thought he was great. And he even called the studio a dojo and then called me his guru. So he was already in his own mindset. And the day when I met him, he's like, I'm ready to sign up right now. What do I need to do? Where do I send the money? That was day one when I just met him at the art gallery. Right. So people see our value, but then we devalue ourselves by being over available. So I'm sitting here like, damn, I'm thinking I'm going to get paid this week and do this now.
So yeah, it's about positioning. It's about positioning, and we want 20 of him, not one. You know what I mean? So that it doesn't affect our business and how we flow. But that's 100%. Like we tend to, somebody will say something and they were like, oh yeah, no, we got to get out of the false humility. We got to get out of, we don't have time. There's no time. Okay. And so what I want to do today is help you really think through it in a way that feels more natural to you, to honor your own value, and it will naturally cause other people to do the same. So that when they come to you, it's not just they're wanting something for free and just chilling. It's like, yeah, no, this is valuable. Your time is valuable. You know, I see you, I honor you. They come ready to do the work. They come ready to pay you what you're worth. Okay.
And Doll, I also feel like we undervalue ourselves by how fast we want them to see results. I think in my mind, I treat people as if they're not going to be here next month. Like, this is my last chance to show them everything I can do in yoga and mindfulness. And I don't let them know, okay, this is going to be 6 months. We're going to work from here. We're going to do this. We're going to build this, because they do feel overwhelmed with the stuff I give them, because I give them too much. And then they feel like they're failing. Can you imagine someone feeling like they're failing me in their own mindfulness? That means I've messed up, because I overwhelmed them, bombarded them with stuff that they can't possibly, like this particular guy is a smoker and a drinker, moved here from Chicago, got a whole girlfriend he moved here for. And this was a lot for him to enter this yoga space in the midst of, working with handicapped children. There was a lot that he was doing. So I feel like I let him down, because I didn't let him know this is the yoga journey we're taking together, and bombarded him like he was just going to be here for a month. And look at here. He's now, like a month later, he's like, I can't even finish my last damn session that I paid for. So yeah, I feel like we cut our own feet off, and that we be kunta kinting ourselves.
Absolutely. Don't kunta yourself. Absolutely. So let's get into it, y'all. Let us get our collective lives, so we can tap into what we're worth and start to attract people who know how to treat us. Got to train people how to treat you. Okay. Now, here's the thing. You got the best framework in the world, the best 5-star pitch. We work really hard on a lot of stuff. Positioning, all of your language on your website, clear value proposition, all that. But internally, you have to make the shift. You have to believe that you're worth people paying you top dollar what you're charging. You have to get out of a spirit of neediness and fear of being rejected, nervous, or is anybody going to understand me? Is anybody going to listen to me? And it might not be the people on this phone, but maybe they'll be in the replay because I'm hearing this language from people in the dollhouse. I'm not sure. Oh, I still don't know. What you mean you don't know? Okay, so let's fix our internal posture first and let that flow through all of our documentation and all of our pitches and language and websites and all of the things. Okay, so this is how it works. I don't use the word selling often, as you guys know, but this is how it works in the human brain. A lot of what we've taught about selling and doing all that is actually backwards. So this is the way you could think about it. Okay, most of the time when they tell you to sell something, if you ever took a class or workshop on selling, they tell you to talk about features and benefits. They'll say, here's what the product does, this is why it's better, this is your return on investment, and you lead with that because it's logical. And you want to sound smart and all of the things. But I've said it repeatedly, I'm saying it again. The human brain does not purchase from the logic part of the brain. All purchasing decisions are actually emotional decisions. And actually, the part of that's subconscious for people, they never really kind of consciously think through this. Strong emotions, the strongest emotion that drives them to take an action is not them being excited about something that they're going to get in the future. It's solving a pain that they're experiencing right now in the current. So their pain, what they're struggling with, is the strongest motivator that any potential client actually has. Some nice benefit, nice to have, that's secondary. But a pain, something that's, I got to get this solved, is primary. So any piece of content, any conversation that you have that you intend for that to lead to a sales conversation, you need to focus on the thing that they're struggling with. And it is very difficult for me to get entrepreneurs to make this shift because you want to start talking about your features and your product and your all the technical details and all of the stuff because this is what they trained you to do as an employee. But that is not how you make a sale and how you create an engine and have people coming to you on autopilot who want to pay you money. You got to come over on this side. You got to get in the experience of life with your client, and they are thinking about problems they haven't solved, things they can't figure out, things that are frustrating them, things that are overwhelming them. That's what you should be talking about. Things that are urgent to them right now, things that they're nervous about right now, things that if we don't figure this out, what am I going to do right now? And I'm also talking to people who, if you have a product that pretty much everybody needs it, that's cool. But in terms of your campaigns and what you focus on, you need to drive your campaigns around a unique, a very tangible problem that people are experiencing and having emotions around right now. That's where you're going to drive and get a lot of sales. So if people are having health problems, people are going through something very specific, you want to talk to them, not just everybody needs this, everybody goes through this. Okay, but who's having a problem and a pain point right now? Don't be logical. I need you to talk to their pain. I need you to get in their business a little bit. Okay? So there's only 3 kinds of pain. Somebody has a problem and they don't really know it's a problem, but it's there. Somebody who's realizing the problem, but they're not really motivated to do anything about it. That's just the way it is. And then you got people who are in extreme pain, something so urgent, so costly, I got to find a solution right now. Okay, so latent pain is like somebody's working a job they don't love, doing the same thing every day. They hate it. They go home and watch Netflix, go to bed. They know something's wrong somewhere down inside, but they kind of got numb to it. They're distracted. They just have a little stuff, they play little video games and they just go on through life. So there's a problem there, but they're not thinking of it as a problem. They're thinking like this is just the way life is. So if you were going to sell to that kind of person, you would have to wake that up. You have to speak to that, make them aware of it, have a whole set of content around, hey, you can't just keep going on like this. That's what I had to do with Aquagenuity. You think your water's fine. It's actually not fine. So my job was to tell stories around, you can't see it, but this is what's going on. You say, oh, I don't drink bottled water. Yeah, but you take showers, don't you? Your skin is your largest organ. When you heat the water up in the pores. Have you ever been in a shower and it smells like chlorine? This is bad. Those chemicals your pores are just opening right up. It's going straight into your system. Oh, I just drink, whatever water from the grocery store. Okay, they're finding plastic in the brain right now. Do you know you got to get that out of there. Like you're not able to function. You can't just drink anything. This is a technology like a car. You wouldn't just put any kind of gas if you had a Bentley. Like, what are we doing? So I had to wake that up. Right? You have to find language for it, help them to feel it consciously. So which kind of problem does your customer have? And I think some of you guys on this phone have kind of a latent problem. They're just going through life. I'm stiff. I've gotten older. I'm an empty nester now. Nothing. It's just how life is. It's a problem, but you got to wake them up to the fact that, hey, we can't keep going on like this. You got to describe it, give them language for it. Once that becomes a realized, yeah, I am struggling with this. I do feel like this. Wait a minute. Now you have their attention. But that's not enough. You got to go further. You got to get them to the point of extreme. They're feeling not just this is uncomfortable, but if I keep doing this is what's going to happen over the next 3 months, 3 years. And I can't accept that. You got to give them some stakes. If you don't change anything, this is going to be a problem. So that the cost of staying like they are becomes more disturbing than the cost of changing. And that gap, that's when people make a move and make a decision to purchase. I'm talking to you from the place of mastery now. We're in day 90, this 100-day challenge. I want some of us to cross over into mastery. You got any momentum, you posting, you're doing the thing, it's going to take some work, but you're going to keep doing what you do and keep locking in and locking in and locking in until you get it right. So now we got to start thinking, act like an entrepreneur, take advantage of opportunities, try new things, experiment, but you got to think like a CEO. Your job is to communicate in a way that makes people say, I need to do something right now. Not like, oh yeah, that's nice. That was cool. No. I need this. Not that's a nice to have. I need this. And we need to make a decision. We need to get this budget going. We need to implement this new program. This is a need. So how deep do your conversations go? Do you actually address the pain that people are feeling? Not the dream outcome, but the actual pain that they're struggling with right now. The stakes. What's at stake if they don't do anything to solve their problem? And how deeply do you take those conversations in your marketing, in your when you're talking to people one-on-one, in your on your landing page? Because as I'm talking, you're like, oh, that's extra. And I'm saying, you want extra money, don't you? Then you got to start showing up like this. Okay. Most of us stay at the surface, just a very kind of hit it and quit it, is James Brown, and just say a little bit something and then you back off because it feels uncomfortable to go deeper. It feels like you're getting in people's business to really talk about the pain and what's at stake. You're just gonna keep spending this kind of money. Do you know what's going on in the economy right now? You better get your budget together. You better stop spending all this money on these babies. It's not 2015. It's about to be another market crash out here. You don't know what's going on. You need to figure out a better way to get your family some clothes and save some money out here. You don't know what's going to be happening in the market in 3 years or 5 years. And you might not have a job. It's your corporate job. It's time to do some cost savings. I've got a perfect solution for you. Y'all can still be stylish, do what you need to do, look like you want to look, but nobody will know. It'll be your best kept secret that you're saving all this money. They'll be like, where did you get all these vintage pieces from? Oh my God. They'll think you're fabulous. That's what I can teach you how to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to get in your business a little bit. Okay. And I had, again, folks in the dollhouse. I never tell y'all's business, but I get the phone calls. Okay. So she called me. She was all excited. Oh my God, they want me to come and speak. I said, this is what you say. Say this exactly. Now, she said, okay, I'll summarize this. I said, I didn't say summarize. I said, say this exactly. You know what she did? She got on the call. She summarized it. And so she was still excited. They were still excited to talk to her afterwards and follow up with her. But there's some vagueness there. There's vagueness. There's like, oh, yeah, I need to follow up with you. Let me get your information. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm interested. Put me on the list. Yeah. Okay. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about by the time you finish talking, people should be like, here's the credit card. Sign me up right now. So you can't avoid this part and then expect the money to hit the same on the other side of it. Because connection. Look at your neighbor and say, connection is the birthplace of all currency. Nobody wants to do this part. Nobody wants to get all in somebody's business. But you want all the money. I need you to reframe. I need you to know how valuable you are. I need you to show up in such a way with such intentionality and so present and locking into exactly what people are feeling and thinking. So much so that they're going to be like, no defenses. They're either going to run away because it's like, whoa, I'm not ready. It's too much for me. Good. Come back when you're ready. Or they're going to be like, please help me. How can I work with you? We want to eliminate all this middle ground, all this gray area, all this, oh, this is nice. Oh, yeah, keep me in mind. Keep me posted. Let me know what you got going on. This is really cool. There's no money. There's no energy in that. There's no, you know what I mean? I need us to get on the other side of this. We got to speed up. If you missed it, the bank crash is coming. Okay. I hope we got enough, months and time. I'm just saying. In 2008, there was a bailout. $700 billion, whatever it was, from taxpayer dollars in the Treasury to bail out the banks. This time they've signed legislation. They got 90 days to let it sit on the books. It's already been approved, but we can say something on the little website right now, and it'll be finalized in June. They're going to do a bail in. And that means they can take your money, your deposit, and use that. The banks can just take that. You go in the bank and you go on your app and say, the withdrawals are restricted at this time. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, no, check back later. And y'all think I'm exaggerating. This happened in 2023. We had a whole bank failure in 2023. Silicon Valley Bank and another one, First Republic, I think it was. And then you're like, oh, I have FDIC, that's what it's for. Well, guess what? In 2023, the FDIC had to borrow millions and millions of dollars just to make those depositors whole. That was 2 banks. If the whole system goes like it went in 2008 and they do a bail-in, everybody's deposit is going to get snatched. If that's all the money you got is sitting in your Bank of America, your Truist down there, it's a problem. So we got to hurry up, because when I start talking like that, people say, well, I can't worry about that. I'm trying to pay my rent. Okay, so I got to get you out of a position where you're still thinking about day-to-day bills. I need you cash flowing so you're on the other side of this, so you can have a conversation with me about getting assets, so you're not sitting in USD with all your money in the bank. So when they start playing with your bank account in 2026, we're going to be all right. By the way, did you know they changed the draft rules? They're attempting to anyway. Talking about, well, we can put women in the draft too. This is happening right now. I'm sure you're not hearing it. They're planning a land invasion over there in Iran. It's not gonna end well. Because if they do that, then they already said they're gonna fire back and get all the infrastructure and the energy for like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, which means that entire region will be uninhabitable. Is nothing good coming out of this for the global economy. Nothing. So we have to learn how to move people. Money follows motion. We can make the money, get the assets, and move out of the way. We must. That's why I'm talking to y'all crazy today. Okay, so listen. Let's reframe this. If you genuinely have a solution that you know can change somebody's situation, and you sit there and allow them to stay in their pain because you are too polite to really get in their face and talk like you need to talk. Like, they give you permission, of course, to have this conversation. But if you're having a conversation, you got to go all the way in. That's why I'm going all the way in. I'm telling you, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get fabulously wealthy. It's a generational, once in a generation opportunity. The biggest wealth transfer in human history, literally right now. But also, if y'all don't start showing up and start talking like this and make sure every piece of paper that you touch, your documents, your digital, your content, your landing page, everything is just this crystal clear, you're not going to make money. And that was okay in 2005. Technically okay in 2015. You could just, oh, I didn't make no money, but go get a job or something. We're on a different type of time now. We got to figure this out. So I'm telling you what to do. I'm giving you the playbook. The question is, are you going to show up? So if you have something that can really help people, but you're too uncomfortable to start showing up and talking the way that I'm speaking, the level of directness, speaking directly to their pain, and bringing a sense of urgency to your work, it's actually unethical. Okay? It's actually unethical. How you have a solution, you can help people, and you're not willing to show up and tell them what they need to hear so they can take a step with you. Come on. Let's show up. Let's be the version of ourselves that speaks directly to people, very, very clear, connection is real, and then offer them a way out. Okay? And this is how it relates back to the posture that I was saying. We gotta get into the posture of value, knowing that we are the value. Once you have settled in your mind that you are worth making millions of dollars, you're not worried about what people think about you and what people said about you and who didn't support you and all that kind of stuff. You're not worried about, you're not coming from a place of desperation or I hope they like me or what if they don't like what I have to say. And you're not coming across as needy and all that kind of stuff. When you settle all of that within yourself, then you can sit down and talk to somebody about their pain, be present in a conversation with the decision maker without flinching. They should be able to be telling you all their problems and you just sitting there listening. Yes, I could relate to that. I had other clients that went through that. I experienced that. That's actually why I started my company. Like you telling them, yes, I know what you're going through. Yes, you having this problem. You're dehydrated. You thought it was another health. You need some water. You know what I mean? Like you come from a place of value because you know what you're talking about. You can sit in the energy and let them come to the conclusion that they need what you have. You don't have to offer a bunch of discounts. You don't have to do all of that. Don't relieve the tension. Remember, I used to teach, when I teach the Afro method, I say, you say all this, you do what you got to do. Sounds like it's a chance for us to work together. Here's what I have to offer. We could do this. Tell me what you want to do. And stop talking. You don't have to over-explain your offer. You don't have to do all that. And you certainly don't have to discount it. But in order to get what you deserve, you can't rush past the pain conversation. You can't not talk about something because, oh, it's too uncomfortable. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. Yes, you do. Not, you know what I'm saying? Not like that, but you want them to be facing the fact that you have a real problem. There are real stakes involved if you don't solve this. And I'm offering you a solution. So what are we doing? And let them sit with that because they're either going to say, oh my God, you're right, but I'm just not ready. Before I found the love of my life, do you know how many people call themselves want to talk to me? And I would say, actually, you don't. And here's why. One conversation, they would not get past the first conversation. And they would say, you know what? I can't. I'm not ready. And I was like, you right. You not. You don't got to date and do all that. We don't have to waste no time and do all of that.
Macy.
And so you need to be the same way in your business. It's not going to be a bunch of back and forth. Oh, send me some information. Oh, this and that. This is what we offer. You have this problem. Can you agree to that? Are you experiencing this? Yes. How do you know? Because this is what I do. It's feeling like this, right? Yep. If you don't fix that, it's going to lead to this, and this, right? Dang, for real. You right. I know I need to do. Yeah, you know what you need to do. So when you're ready to do what you need to do, I'm over here. That's it. You don't have a bunch of back and forth, all these proposals. Y'all sending a lot of proposals. Y'all doing a lot of back and forth, a lot of showing up, a lot of just chit-chatting. Hey, let me know if you're interested. Hey, you want to try something? We're not doing that. We're rising on the mastery level. I said what I said. This is what I have. You know you need it. What we doing? Now, why is that uncomfortable for you guys? Why is it hard for us to stand in our power in that way? You can talk to me as you feel it. Because we don't skip the part that makes the buyer ready to hear the solution. You got to sit in that part, the problem state. Okay. So your ability to stay present when somebody else is going through their mental process around the pain and how did they let their life get like this? How did they let their business get to this point? How did they get to the point where I've been doing this for 3-4 years and I'm just completely overwhelmed? How did I get to this point where I'm this age and I don't have this figured out yet? How did I get to this point where it's just like, what am I doing? They need to be able to feel all of those feelings, and you sit right there and hold the energy for them. And by you being able to do that, what that signals to them is that you, sitting there listening to them, you've been in this conversation before. You know what this looks like. This problem, this pain, this thing that they're struggling with, you're not afraid of it. So they feel comfortable. Their defenses go down. They get to that level of confidence with you. Now we got a connection. A connection is the birthplace of all currency. Okay? So do not be afraid to connect with the pain that your customers are experiencing. Okay? Now listen to what I'm telling you, because I'm talking just as much as I'm talking. I know for a fact that somebody's going to go back to the way that they were doing it before. So listen to this. Let's work through this together. If somebody reaches out to you and it's outside of like working hours, this is for those of you who work with individual clients, you do consulting, stuff like that. They call you just randomly out the blue, no schedule, nothing. And you jump up and run. Every time somebody calls you, it's Saturday, it's Sunday, it's the middle of the thing. You're supposed to be with your family, but it's not work time. It's just like, oh yeah, oh my God, I gotta, oh yeah. As opposed to making people respect your schedule. Or you lower your price if somebody hesitates or says they need to think about it. You offer discount, you giving them bonuses, all type of stuff that is beyond the scope of what you're supposed to be doing, just to try to hold on to the person. You over-explain your credentials when you get nervous. You just talk. Through information, you're trying to build trust through information. You start apologizing. See, the people that need to be on this call and I don't hear today at the dollhouse, you apologize for everything. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm sorry for the, I'm sorry about this. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't do it. Is this you? Do you find yourself doing these things? Every time you do this, you are lowering your status in the view of the person that you're talking to, whether you know it or not. You're signaling that you are subordinate to them, that your time is not as valuable as theirs. And so we have to switch your positioning completely. You can't just be the emotional support system and dumping ground for people who have not earned, nay, paid for that access. So when you make yourself available and listening to hours and hours of them talking and rambling on and on, you're giving all kind of free advice at length. You're just going on and on and on, endlessly available like a friend. But like the mistreated friend who the person they're friends with doesn't really reciprocate, but you're always there for them, but they don't do nothing for you. But then you wonder why when you give a professional recommendation, nobody respects you, takes you seriously. Because they already learned that you've made yourself available for free. So why would they pay? This is why what I said yesterday, I'm expounding on. This is why we don't just offer stuff for free. Because you're telling them what you're worth when you do that. It's not to say you don't have a free offer. Obviously, we do. That's part of our offer ladder. But y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go back over this on Thursday because the people that need to hear this, some of them are not here right now. But they be watching the replay. So, you know I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. So almost every person in here, if you have behavior that feels like, I'm just giving and I'm serving, I just want to be helpful to people, is actually doing the most damage to your brand. Over explaining, make yourself available, no boundaries, no systems, being super duper flexible in your pricing. You think you're being generous, you're not. You're showing people that you're not worth very much. Okay, so we can do this. We got to change how we value and position ourselves. And all these small little signals that you send out every single day, when you don't have a schedule, when you just available and floating around anytime, any kind of access to you, you're telling every partner, buyer, potential collaborator, client that it's easy to access you, easy to get at you, no real cost to work with you. They could disrespect you anytime they want to. You just jump and run. Every time they say something, you just jump and run. You got no boundaries. So by definition, they're not going to value you because you train them that they don't have to. Okay. So what we have to do is detach from that and move over to the other side. And when we do that, that's not arrogance. We're not going to the extreme, the other extreme. What we're doing is finding alignment between what we know we're worth inside and how we carry ourselves in the world. We got to get those two things to match. Okay. We can do this. Number one, everybody does not get access to you. Access to you is now a privilege. And this is why we do an offer ladder, because I got people in the dollhouse trying to make themselves available as a personal one-to-one consultant to every single customer of yours. No. You're not a 24-hour open house. Anybody can call you, access you, you pull up, show up, and do all these things just because they asked you to. No. Your attention is a limited resource. So we need to put some space between you and all of your clients and customers. They're not paying for that level of access to you. So we need some digital products. We need some simple training. We need some group things that they can come in and get access to that way. But they can't just be one-to-one, just draining you and all your time, energy, and you just doing what they specifically want you to do. Your attention and your time, energy, effort, focus, and attention is a legitimate, limited resource. So when somebody reaches out to you, put it in your schedule. So what does that mean? If I get an email from you at 10:39 at night p.m., which did happen, it's not in a bad way. I'm talking about my $200 million people. He responded back to the email at 10:39 p.m. You know what I did? I waited 24 hours before I emailed him back. This is not a game that I play. This is what I learned from my billionaire mentors. Because there will be a genuine, I really wanted to put thought into, number one, what I was going to say in terms of, we're trying to schedule a meeting. He's very busy. I'm very busy. Okay, what are we doing? But also that gap of time, that silence before you respond, creates value. In that gap, people actually fill in the picture. I'm just telling you what my billionaires told me. I'm not telling you to fake this. I'm saying if you have working hours, of course you respond to people in working hours. But if they're hitting you outside of working hours, wait till the working hours to respond so that they know your attention is worth waiting for. You got to treat people how to train you. They got to understand what your presence costs. When you're present, you're fully present. But when you're not available, you're not available. Do it deliberately. Train your clients, okay? Train your people now. I'm telling you. Because this is why people talk about, oh, I'm stressed out. I'm running around. I got clients everywhere. They pull it. It's because you ain't trained. They're little toddlers running around. You ain't trained. You got to train these people how to treat you and your time. Okay? Now, I want to know, what's a place in your life and your business where you're currently just open 24/7? Anybody can reach out to you and access you at any time? And is that costing you respect? Where in your life or business are you too immediately available? So again, if you got working hours, let it be working hours. But if it's outside of working hours and you just somebody you don't know at all and it's 2 a.m. and you DM and talking about it's my client, you're doing too much. You're not screening any calls. You're not putting people through any kind of training and stuff. They just get to access you immediately. We gotta bring some of that in. Got to reel some of that in. Go ahead, Tracy.
I think the work hours are definitely it. I'm steady, like saying, especially with my male clients, but with any client, but male in particular, oh, he's catching feelings, or oh, he's pushing on things that I don't want to push. But I'm the one that's responding to messages at 10 something when they're texting or they're because I
you better shut it down.
Come on. So it's not actually them, it's me.
That's what I'm talking like.
Yeah, that's and that's the thing, is like when people, even with my situation at home where my bro is like, oh, I need your respect. I'm like, respect something you have to beg someone for. I keep asking my head, it's something you give to yourself, and then automatically people know how to treat you. But it's like, I realized for myself, that's what I do with my clients. I give them this open window as if I'm so excited. Like they have an hour and a half stretch and I'm sitting there talking to them for 2 hours. I'm like, what the hell? And I don't want to, because they weren't the one stretching. I was the one exhausted, sweating and moving. Okay. I want to rest. I'm not here for no conversation.
All right.
So
you got to train them. We come in, we do the work. I'm not your counselor. I'm not your, you know what I'm saying? That's not what we're doing here. You got to close that door. Okay. That's a great example.
And I am going to raise my prices. And I've been wanting to do that for a while, but I am going to raise the prices, and people do what they need to do, because they'll go somewhere else. These same people, they'll know how to pay somebody else.
Correct. So you must train people how to treat you. Okay. So that's number one. Close all these open doors. Some of y'all are giving way too much access to people. Shut it down. Number two, say less than necessary. Your words are containers for energy. Money is energy. That means words are currency. So when you print too much currency, that creates inflation and the value drops. So when you talk too much, you go on and on and on and on, and I can do that, and you just over explain what you do, and you because talk about because you're nervous, and you just keep talking. You fill in every silence. You explain every decision. You justify every price. You apologize. You well, I don't have that together yet, but and you keep doing all of that. Every time you do that, the value of your words drops. Some of y'all talk too much. So on your next sales call, you go through the Afro method, go through the 6 questions. Get them talking about their aspirations, frustrations. Ask the follow-up questions. Then go into your framework. That's really interesting that you said that. This is exactly why I'm building my work the way that I do. We work with folks who are in your position all the time, and you go through your elevated 5-star pitch. And then after that, if they reflect back to you, that sounds amazing. That's something that I wish I'd had when I started this journey. I really need that because and they're in an emotional state. Then you say, well, it sounds like there's an opportunity for us to work together. Like I mentioned, I'm starting a cohort, 90 people. We're going to be doing this. It's going to take you 90 days. This is a commitment. It's not for everybody, but for those who do it, here's the price. And this is what we do. You can start anytime. You do it on your schedule. Stop talking. Don't elaborate. Don't soften it. Don't justify it. Don't offer a payment plan. Stop talking. Because in that silence, neuroscience, their brain hears that silence as confidence. It hears you saying, this is what I charge. Other people pay it. I don't have to convince you to pay it because you're not the only customer out here. You can get with this or you can get with that. I let you in the dollhouse. You can let yourself out. You can do what you want to do. It's not for everybody. Your silence does more than 100 features and benefits and talking and going on and on and on and on. The person who speaks less in a room is generally perceived as having more authority. This is just human psychology. Self-restraint implies control. I'm saying it every way I can say it. Some of y'all are talking too much. If you can't control your words and you're just, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Guys, well, actually, because all of that, the person is sitting there listening to you. This is not your friend. You're not here to make friends. You're here to build a business. So the more you do that, the more you are devaluing yourself in the mind of the person that's listening to you. So they'll like you as a person and still not pay you what you're worth. And then go down the street and pay somebody for the same service that you provide because you talk too much. Go for it, Tracy.
I definitely know I talk too much. And then what I notice is even within my silence, when I bound to get there because I finished whatever spiel I was on, I'm moving too much. So even in my silence, I need to sit still and make the person uncomfortably come to an answer. Because I think Rich and Grow Rich says that it's like, if somebody has all the information and you give it to them and they're not able to come to a decision, I don't know if they say 2 minutes or 10 minutes, if they can't come into a decision quickly, whatever decision they make after that, you can't even trust it.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
They already had all the information. So I always think about that, but I don't apply it. So I agree. I do need to stop talking and stop moving to just be still.
You got to bring it in. And so a lot of times y'all will hear me, even on these calls, next 100-day challenge, I'm going to be on y'all about this, but not this one. Even on these calls, but if we do a one-on-one or whatever, I'm always like, okay. It's not because I'm cutting people off. It's like, okay, we got to bring this energy in. We're all over the place. We're just, whoa. Because CEO, ma'am, sir, CEO of this multi-million-dollar enterprise, if you can't control your own actual energy, it's making me nervous. You know what I'm saying? Money is an amplifier. If I'm an investor and I give you this money and you bouncing off the walls, I don't know what's about to happen. And please don't quote me about no crazy tech bro who, well, he's crazy and don't do that because I know the real story. Okay. You got to bring it in. You got to get your energy under control. State your price, state your offer, stop talking. Why can you do that? How could I be so confident to do that? Because you should have already been doing these 50 conversations with customers. You should already have enough feedback to know that what you're offering is something that people really need. If you're in the discovery phase, you still stop talking. You ask more questions. You say, this is what it is. This is how much it offers. Oh, that's more than I expected. You still don't rush. You be like, okay, well, tell me more about that. Let them talk. Go right back into customer discovery. They say, yeah, I want to do that. Great. If they try to negotiate, say, look, this is what I charge. That's it. Now, if you need something else, I got this free thing. Go in my free community. Knock yourself out. That's it. Confidence in your price is the justification for your price. That's it. So all this extra talking, we don't have to do all of that. Okay? Some of y'all need to raise your prices. Number 3, when somebody disrespects you, makes a dismissive comment about you, makes a joke about you, does something that's low-key disrespectful, like an offhanded comment about you. They keep showing up late to all your calls and canceling on you at the last minute. They're not really treating you like, you deserve to be treated. You could either laugh it off, which would signal that you're low-key accepting this. You could get visibly upset and get all in your emotions about it, which signals that they have power over your emotional state. Neither one of those is going to do anything for you. So here's what a high-value entrepreneur does. Go back to stillness. Silence. Stop. Looking at the person. I'm not smiling. I'm not frowning. No reaction. Three, 4 seconds. And then you just go head on with whatever it was you were saying. Aha! Y'all think I'm playing. This is how you run a room. This is how you run a meeting. This is how you deal with racism in the marketplace. This is how you sort out all customers are not your customers. All partners are not your partners. You reject it without saying anything into it. You don't even have to acknowledge it. You don't have to give it any emotional reaction. You just and go head on. That's when they'll realize they can't predict you. Now you become the wild card in the room. This is where your reputation starts to get built. Okay, your value and their perception will start to rise when you start to handle that instead of responding to every little thing they do. They're used to you. They say something, you react. They say something, you respond. They say something, you jump. They say something, you go to running. They say something. We're not doing that. Why? Because we don't have to. So your unpredictability is a part of you being high value. You don't have that level of access to me. You don't get my heart and soul and mind and spirit and tears and all of that. You don't get that. You don't have access to me like that. We're here for what we came to do. I'm here to help you. You're supposed to be, you have a role, I have a role. If we're not doing that, I'm out. Okay? So these are the power plays. Now, most people are not willing to show up like this. This is why you can't charge what you're worth. This is why you're not making no money. And what do you want me to do? I'm telling you how to do it. Question is, are you going to show up like this? Okay. Number 4, this is my law of detachment. Y'all always hear me talk about. You must be willing to walk away. All partnerships, all offers, all potential customers, all whatever is not for you. So you got to be willing to walk away. That's the most powerful position in any negotiation. If anybody ever studied negotiation, the most powerful position is somebody who's willing to be like, and we're out. Why am I all up in your business? Because that's my job, Tracy. That's why. The person who's willing to walk away and say, you know what? I'm good on this. Come on, team. Let's go. Y'all have seen the movies and they just leave. That's the person in power position. They don't want to do right. I'm out. You know, they call me the cutoff queen. I will bounce in a minute. Not because I don't like people. You're not going to play with me. You could do something else, but that's what you're not going to do. But this all my billionaires, they act the same way. I'm telling you. How do you get people to respect you, to get your buddy, to charge what you're worth, and not have all these back and forth and, oh yeah, people cheating you and doing twos and fews and, let me just, what I'm saying, I got 10 on it. Like, no, my price is what I said it was. This is what it is. What are we doing? Oh, I ain't got it right now. Well, you know what? Go to my free community, hang out over there, and when you get it, give me a call. That's it. We're moving on. I saw a video today. Perfection. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is some rapper. I don't know. He had like one hit song. Y'all might know who he is. I can't keep up with these people anymore. Some of these rappers. But anyway, I heard the song before. So he's on like a little private event somebody hired him to do. And I don't know if you knew that you can rent out, like at the private airport, you can rent out the hangar and like have a party there. So they had this like formal party in like a Delta private jet hangar. So he's on stage. The music is going. It's a lot of younger people there, mostly white people, some black kids, but younger. I don't know whose party this was. I don't know what kind of party this was. But he's going in. He's doing the lyrics. They don't rap no word. They're just singing along to the track or whatever. He's doing that. This whole side of the room, they're just like, I don't know what they were doing. They were just eating food, just looking bored. And he's like, whatever the song was. And so he looks around the room. And over there on this side, they were going crazy. This was like their jam. They all in the with the phones up, they going crazy. So he walks off the stage, goes over there to where the hype crew was. And he got in there, they looked up and they saw him, and they go, oh, So we're not here for everybody. We're not here for the whole room. I don't need everybody to get excited about what I do. No. I want to find the people who see it, need it, buy it. Let's go. That's it. Everybody else, I can walk away from the table. Because there's enough of those people to make you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month and get you out of harm's way when it comes to where this economy is headed. I've said it twice. I'm going to say it third time because somebody missed it. They're getting ready to crash the banking system, not intentionally. I don't know how you want me to tell you. I'm just telling you. And this time, instead of a bailout like it was in 2008, it's going to be a bail-in. They already passed legislation. They're just waiting on June for it to be out in public so they can say, well, we told the people and nobody objected. When it goes live in June, when the bank has a crisis and they don't have enough funding, because you know in March 2020, the world ended the pandemic. But you know what else they did in March 2020? They said the banks do not have to have any reserves. Zero. There's a $0 reserve requirement, which means you put your money in there, they could take all of it out and go spend it, gamble it, buy derivatives, do whatever they want to do. So just like 2008, that's what they've done with your money. So the money's not there. So if something happens and they need some reserves right quick, they're going to pull it from your deposit. So then when you go get the money out the bank, you're going to wake up one day and hit the app and it's going to say, withdrawals are restricted at this time. Please check back later. And you're going to be like, I'm sorry, what? This is going to happen to everybody at the same time. Now, you think people say, oh, FDIC. This is my third time telling this story because I need y'all to know this is coming. FDIC. Well, guess what? In 2023, Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. And another one. I think it was First Republic. So the people who found out first when they got the money out, when everybody else found out it was too late, they're going crazy, run on the bank. Biden said, oh, yeah, no, we're going to honor this FDIC. But did you know that they had to borrow most of that money to pay those people back and make them whole? They didn't actually have it. And again, that was government dollars. This time, no government dollars, no treasury money, no tax money will be used. It is a bail-in. So they're going to take your deposit and go head on, and you're going to be left with nothing if all of your money is sitting in USD in the bank. So we don't have time to still be like, oh my God, apologizing, running, and just discount yourself, make yourself available, all the things that we've been talking about today. We can't show up like that anymore. And if somebody is not willing to accept your price, someone's not willing to accept your terms, I'm not talking about the part where you're doing customer discovery. I'm talking about the part where you know your offer, you know what you're worth, you've done the work, you know that people want it, you know that they need it, and now you're going to hit your numbers, and they're not willing to accept your terms. You got to be willing to say, thank you, I appreciate it, and walk away from the deal. Walk away. Quote your price. They push back. Say, I understand. Might not be a good fit for you right now. And you're done. You're not bluffing. You're not finna negotiate. You can walk away because you know you have enough people coming in through your stage, this arena that we're building. You always have another one. Another one. You know what I'm saying? You're stable enough in your own self, in your own system, so you don't feel desperate. I got to get this client. I got to make it work with this client. No, you don't. There's 100 more of you. There's only one of me. Okay? This one deal does not determine your story. That's what it means to live in a state of abundance. So you don't have to bluff when you're seriously actually fine to walk away or let a client walk away if it doesn't fit. They will stop trying to test you and they will go to looking at, man, I really need this person. It reads as confidence. And this is the foundation upon which everything else you build in your business has to be on this foundation. If you don't know your value and you don't know your worth and you're not willing to train people how to treat you, you're going to always have something shaking the foundation of this business that you're building. Okay. So what is it in your current business? Are you doing too much talking? You're doing too much apologizing? You're doing too much willing to do anything just to keep the person, don't want them to walk away? Are you accepting disrespect and laughing and giggling when it's not funny? And letting somebody low-key disrespect you? Accepting calls all time of night, all outside of business hours and parameters. Talking about, well, I need the business. I don't want to offend them. No. And that goes for men and women. I've seen it on both sides where the person clearly is flirting. Clearly is just wasting your time. And you just because you just try to get the deal done. So you accept all these things that are way outside of the boundaries of what should be acceptable because I got to get this deal. You're training people how to treat you, and they don't see you as valuable when you do that. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking. Y'all can talk. And we're going to get to the arena. We're going to keep working on this arena all week long. Day 90, y'all. Got 10 days left. So where in your current business are you holding on to a relationship or a client or deal or a potential opportunity that keeps stringing you along, but you probably should walk away from them, but you won't because you're afraid of walking away with me. Whatever that fear is for you, that's the price tag that you've put on yourself. That's the part where you're stuck, where you're not sure about your own worth. And whether they say it or not, whether they're conscious of it or not, they know you don't value yourself. So they keep playing in your face. They can feel it. It's subconscious. And that's why they keep treating you like crap. And in business, they're going to keep lowballing you as long as you allow this. Go for it, Tracy.
Well, for me right now, everybody is in place. So I don't have anyone like that yet. I have had that in the past where I do not want to work with someone. And this person, their energy was off. They would make subtle jokes. It would just get on my it was a woman, get on my damn nerves. And she would cancel at the last minute. She would find loopholes within my cancellation policy. I'd be like 12 hours. She canceled 11:55. Just doing crazy stuff. And I really did not like working with her. She was actually at the gym, and then she found out I was coming back and she wanted to work with me. I didn't even respond to her message. And I know if I need to, I'll just let her know, it's not within my schedule if it actually comes where I have to talk with her. Right now, it's more my time, like me valuing my time when I'm with people. And like you said, when I'm talking to people, staying quiet. I think what's happening is every time I went out talking to humans today, every time I talk to people, it's almost like I'm in rehearsal mode instead of game mode. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in, kind of talk like this. But I said, no, Tracy, can you go in and do what you need to do? Like, who told you you had time? So today I had to kind of pump myself up. Go and do what you need to do. And I'm not going to say I was 100%, yet even getting outside today was challenging to me. And I had to talk with myself. I'm like, you're afraid of humans. Like, what? I was like, are you okay? Like, is something going on that you don't want to be outside? And then every time I'm outside, I'm smiling, I'm laughing. It feels good to be out in the real world for my actual business, not just pollygagging about the weather or about groceries and about whatever else is going on in the world. It feels great, but then I hesitate to do it. So it's a constant push. I'm shocked at how hard it is every day, even though I'm doing it. That part kind of is boggling to me.
Yeah, and that's all right. Don't put too much judgment or weight on it. Just got to remember we've been programmed to do it the other way for decades, right? So now we're just reversing that energy. So more reps. That's all you need. Don't overthink it.
Yes.
Give yourself grace.
And then yesterday, a chiropractic office that I emailed 2 weeks ago, which was a recommendation from another wellness clinic that I haven't even worked with this wellness clinic, but they just met me by one of those days. I was outside talking to humans. The sister really liked me, and she recommended me to a chiropractic office to do assisted stretch. They called me yesterday and said, hey, we'd love to meet with you. And we want to, and they already act like I'm already working. They're like, we want to see what your techniques are, but we also want to teach you some of our techniques so you can implement it along with what you're doing if you can come by, on Wednesday. So it was already a beautiful energy from a recommendation from a sister, just on the vibe of me going out, talking to humans. Mm-hmm. And like I said, she's never seen anything I did. She wants to book me for yoga. I'm going to her spot this weekend. I'm going to be doing an assisted stretch for a pamper party she's having, but she's never seen my work. Mm-hmm. So this talking to humans is a real thing, and it works.
So these are the things that you tell yourself when you feel resistance. You tell yourself that story.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, I like that.
That's what you do, because it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, and make that voice get quieter and quieter because you have receipts. When I talk to humans,
and then something else happened today at the gym where there was a lady that I had stretched, a Haitian lady I had stretched. Her daughter paid for her stretch, and I stretched her. And then I taught the class a couple of weeks after I stretched her, because sometimes I sub these classes. And I noticed she was talking to class, and I thought she was mad with me. I thought, because a lot of times they think my classes are too hard, and she walked out. And I'm like, dang, I said, And everybody else said, "Oh, your class was so great today. Do it just like that again, Tracy." And I said, "But someone done walked out." And this lady, I was like, and then I ran into her today and I said, "Hey, remember last month when I teach in the class, was everything okay? I saw you were upset." She was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, no, I wasn't upset." And then she said, she told another friend, "What class is she talking about?" And she was like, "Oh, no, you had it at a doctor's appointment." She's like, "I have a doctor appointment every Monday at this time. I had nothing to do." So I'm here taking this personal. It ain't got nothing to do with
Exactly.
me. And my daughter's always telling me, she's like, "Tracy, well, she don't say Tracy, but she said, Mommy, you're always taking stuff personal. That ain't got nothing to do with you."
Yep. So this is the
wild
shift. This is the shift. How we carry ourselves, how we're thinking, this internal game that we're playing in our own mind that's not even real half the time. The things that we're signaling before we speak, the way we show up, being willing to sit in the energy and talk about the pain with the person, and you got to hold your energy together so they can have the transformation they need to have. All those things. Stop making yourself so immediately available. Stop over explaining. Stop discounting. Stop apologizing all day, every day. The more you do that, your presence becomes more magnetic. People will start to take you more seriously.
And I think in the beginning, though, what I'm going to do is once I finish my sessions with people, I'm going to AKA just hide. I'm like, "All right, have a great day. I'm just going to go into a little closet or go into a place." And they just, because I think there's this, that they think we're talking. And honestly, energy work is a lot of energy that's being emitted. I need rest. Mm-hmm. Like, especially that lady that was here on Friday. She's a nice sized woman, and I stretch everyone. I stretch cops, I stretch men, I stretch people. But certain people, they give you their whole weight, which they're supposed to, yet it was heavy. And I had to move this body, and the space was small. Plus, she allowed me to record. So I had to position. There was a lot of things that made it where I needed to move in a way that coordinated, but it was also hard on my body to do. So I need a place where I can rest. And I think I have to give myself space to do that. So I'm actually modeling that self-care that I'm teaching to them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Very, very important. Hey, Latanja, go for it.
Hi, I just wanted to ask about the stand store that I already have, mm-hmm. and the fact that I am getting people that are viewing it, but mm-hmm. they're not necessarily booking anything. I have my discovery call, of course, that's free. The Zest for Life Social Club support group is $17 a month for the membership. Mm-hmm. The book, a one-on-one coaching session, it's $99. And then, of course, the books and the Lady Academy wait list. Mm-hmm. But I do use the cadence to share with everyone on the morning show how they can actually use a free, my 5 signs you've lost yourself in your roles. That's for free, mm-hmm. where I'm asking for their emails. And so I'm not necessarily getting anyone to take on any of this as of yet.
Okay. Now,
and so I'm not certain.
Are they clicking the free thing, or is you just set it up and nobody's clicking? That's what you're saying.
No one is clicking anything.
Okay. Now
they're reviewing it.
Right.
They're reviewing. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have questions about your actual audience in terms of the people who are viewing, whether it's the morning show or now coming over to YouTube and stuff like that. Or are you doing it both on Instagram and YouTube simultaneously live? Is that how you're doing it?
I'm doing it live on Facebook and TikTok every morning.
Okay. So I want to challenge you, let's say over the next week or two, the topics that you're talking about on each episode, mm-hmm. I want you to try to drill them down, be as specific as you can be about, a problem or a pain point or whatever that, the topic of that day is. Mm-hmm. And then, talk about the problem and the conflict and the stakes, they don't solve this and all of that. And then give them a very practical lesson that they can do to solve that problem.
Okay.
And then let that be tied into, one of the things that you have in your stand store. So like the other day you talked about, you basically have a mirror exercise that you have for people. That's in your book or your journal, right?
Yes.
So that episode would be about a very specific thing, really, really emphasizing the problem, the emotional language and all that stuff, and then give them the solution. And then at the beginning, somewhere near the beginning of your episode, and then at the end, you're saying everything I just taught, the full exercises, the journal prompts, the this, and that is in, and point them to that specific resource at that episode. And let that be your new way of showing up, like super specific, because you have so much to offer and so much value and so much work that you've done over the years. So what I want you to now practice is zooming all the way in.
Zooming all the way in.
Yes. So like today, if I'm talking, I'm like, y'all are discounting yourselves, you're undervaluing yourselves, you're apologizing too much, your energy's all over the place, you're talking too much, you talk yourself out of a deal, you're working with clients and not your client, go on and on and on. People are like, oh my God, she's talking to me. Like, I see myself in that. Wow. And then instead of saying, so y'all go in my stand store and get you some materials, I will point you directly to the one thing that I have in there that's designed for this specific pain that I have stretched out and enhanced and went into in great detail today, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I want you to
try that.
Try that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else want to share or has questions, comments, concerns, challenges, feedback, perspective, and personal story time on today? I learned a new skill on my AI today. I was thinking about Clara. I said, oh, look at me. I know something I didn't know before.
What you learn?
I try to commit, right? I try to learn one new thing every day on AI. So, and I turned my settings off. Like you told me, I made sure my privacy thing was, so they can't be training with my data and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, you encouraged me. I had to catch the tail end. I had to take a couple calls today, but especially when you were saying about with the clients and valuing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I truly appreciate that. And I realized, like I was sharing, is I found myself sometimes almost missing opportunities because I didn't see my full worth, even though I knew what I could do, even being from the executive VA perspective, utilizing AI helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that, like I said, just sometimes being in that desperate mode because, my situation and whatnot, but I was just like, I couldn't really see it.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, oh, okay. And it's like, so it caused my foundation things, to be rocky and uncertain. So it was like, when people are serious, I'm literally like, they're not serious. Okay, I hear them talking. But it's like I can hear that they're ready, but then because of limiting beliefs within myself,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they were, and I was like, I'm not about letting nobody else play in my face again. So I found myself putting up a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just saying, okay, and, not really testing, quote unquote, but more so like, okay, they're ready here. This is this. Let's see if they take the bite, you know, and then it, so I appreciate the things you shared. And like I had a talk with myself yesterday. I said, self said,
Mm-hmm.
But literally it was just like, keep building your foundation no matter what, even if somebody doesn't bite, but even just a few things that's been happening, it's literally like more people are following and I'm like, oh, let me make sure I get out here and do this. And I still have to, it's still that overcoming that hesitancy of posting live, where it's so easy for me to go do a clone and post a video, put it there or do a video. But it's like overcoming that. Yeah. Putting yourself out there, not worried about past things to what, you know what I'm saying? But I know that it's something that's needed and it's been confirmed in so many different ways. And so it's like, I really have to put on some blinders and not allow myself to be so easily distracted, when my brain starts braining.
Yeah, it's really about being present. And you know, clarity is your favorite word, Clara, you know what I mean? But the clarity that we get around, I know my value, I know my worth, I know people need this. I got signals from the marketplace. This is a thing. I know, you know, all of that. And we get clarity around how we talk about our work and stuff like that. That should lead us to some form of confidence where I could speak like this, like you did the other day, Sunday night. And I know people are going to respond. Boom. So that should start to eliminate some of our just nervous energy and all the things. When you show up in confidence, people are going to feel confident. What that allows you to do is be present. Being present in the moment is the only way to combat, you know, distractions and life is life and your brain is braining and, you know, whatever else, like fears about the past or fears about the future or whatever. The only antidote to that is being present.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I'm right here in the moment. I'm talking to this client. I'm working on this piece of content, whatever it is. I'm being present right now. And I'm not like, oh, but what about this and what about that? And then when you're present, that leads to connection. And that's the birthplace of our currency. Yep.
I like that because I've been working on just even as I'm, you know, my journey to wholeness myself, healing the place of realizing the self-abandonment where it's so easy for me, even I have to watch when people need help because I can be in the middle of something important and I will end up abandoning, and I realized I was abandoning myself to go help them. And it's like, but I had to realize that sometimes I would hide behind helping others to distract myself from really going out there, to put myself out there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So you guys, who else got something to say? Questions, comments, concerns, challenges, feedback, perspective, personal story time before we jump off, because I told y'all 90 minutes. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you 3 sentences, 3 lines. You could talk to anybody, close any sale with these 3 lines. It's part of our reading framework, but I'm going to give it to you tomorrow. But anybody else want to share and talk before we jump off? Shout out to y'all who are streaming. I saw y'all over there as well.
I just wanted to add one more thing, Ms. Dawn.
Yes.
That I'm noticing in the group that I'm in a couple of groups, women groups or whatever the case. I have been showcasing my workshops. There's a few people that have come along with. There's one particular lady that is new on the scene that everyone is gravitating toward and is supporting her in all of her adventures that she has in businesses and workshops and things that she's doing. And I'm noticing that people like the luxury of all of these events that she's having, whether they're color coordinated or themes and different things like that. However, they don't want to do the healing work in which I offer. So they want to have the glam life and all of the fun fare and all of the highlights.
Yes.
You know, I'm dating. I'm just noticing what is actually.
I love this question. I love this question. I totally relate to it. And this is what I want to tell you. This is why I'm talking so crazy to y'all today. What you must do is rise even more. Okay. The more you stand in your power and the more that you push, lean into the stakes. What happens to an entire generation of women, of our children and our grandchildren, you know, people who are the age that you're speaking to, if we don't do this work and heal? What happens when the grandmothers are still in the club? And the grandmothers are, you know, they don't want, hold on. What happens to society? You know, what are we doing? Right. What's going to happen to the babies? If we, you know, talking to your generation, if we don't come together and heal, nobody's holding space for us to do that. Where is the place where we can come and just not have to be perfect and not have to have it all together? And just at this big age, you were supposed to have figured it out, but guess what? We didn't yet. What if there was a place where we can actually do this work? And you just have to lean in. That's to say, what happens? Look around, we're already there. You know what I'm saying? That if we don't do this work, it's a wrap for us. We will be literally back re-enslaved, like our people. You know what I'm saying? So
be more direct.
The stakes, yes, the stakes are high. You have to push into the pain point that you saw. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know that you can, like you said, people like events and they like, you know, DJs and food and brunches and stuff. But listen, I told y'all this story, I tell it all the time. You might have been there that night. We're at the place that should not be named. I'm in there doing what I do. I come out, I roll the whiteboard out every Tuesday, every Thursday, same time, same station. Come out there and they had a whole floor of food. I'm talking about buffets on buffets. Why was it so much food? They had 2 DJs, not one, but 2 DJs. And everybody pulled up in there, got them plates, stacked up all this food, and came right down the back stairs and came and sat down and looked at me, watched me on the whiteboard. To the point where the head of the organization came, where's everybody going? Nobody was up there. Because in the space that I hold for people, I talk about how, Claire was there, how significant and important and necessary it is for us to do this work. We've got to figure it out. We cannot just be sitting around waiting on people to give us grant checks and pitch competition checks. We're not going to make it. You know what I'm saying, when they crash the US dollar and all of this is going on, we got to be able to turn a button, you know, get online and say something that's going to bring customers in. We must learn this skill. This is for our survival. And the more I emphasize that, people have their own recognition. That's why we got to hold the energy, hold the space. And I know you're going to be doing it, LaTanja. I see it. I see it for you. I know it's coming. We have to hold the space because people have to have time to go through their own little changes in their mind, which means you can't be changing. You're the mirror. You're the mirror. So you just stand there and reflect back to them. Okay, I love a good brunch. I love a good, event. But when y'all finish with these events, you still going home and you still lonely. You still going home and you feel unfulfilled. You still going home and watching OWN network and your whole life. You too young to be like, my life is over. What are you doing? When you get to the house, call me. When you get to the house, that's what that's what this community is for. It's not when you want to show out and dress up. Y'all do all of that. And after that, you know what I'm saying? We're over here doing this work. Like, you really have to just.
That's right.
You hold that space and they will make the shift.
That's right.
Yep. Yep. Because they look for dopamine hits. Like when I talk about Juicy Crab and Hookah Lounge, people just look for dopamine hits. They just want to feel good. And it's like, you'll feel great if you do this work, but you're going to run into yourself first. You're going to have to deal with this resistance first. You have to do the uncomfortable part first. But that's okay. That's why I'm holding space for you. Because by the time y'all finish, y'all going to be millionaires. And you'll be like, thank you, dog. Be like, you're welcome. But you were mad at me in the uncomfortable part. It's all right. We're going to get on the other side of that. I'm holding space for you. Go for it, Jay-Z.
Okay, and LaTanja too, you can give them a little bit of the meatballs too and the alcohol. Like, I came into the school wanting to do yoga and whatever it is, but I was doing a lot of massages. I was doing foot massages. I was doing neck massages. I was doing hand massage. I give the people what they wanted. Are those part of my services? Yes. Was that all of it? Can I service a lot of people if I'm doing individual? No, but those people ended up being now personal clients. So find something that nobody wants to be worked on, as far as really, not nobody, but you know what it is? Like doing yoga, it's like, okay, I'm moving my own body. No, but when I was touching them and stretching them, they want that. When I'm doing massages, they want that, because everybody just wants to sit and relax and do nothing sometimes. So find something within your service that they can kind of have that pamper self-care feeling too, and not so much of like, okay, I'm working on myself. Like, find something fun, I guess I'm saying.
Oh, LaTanja's very fun. LaTanja's very fun.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm pushing back. I'm pushing back because I'm telling you, Tracy, a lot of this one-on-one is not sustainable. It's not that we can't do it. It's just like, that's not a business model that we can't scale. I need them to recognize you for the value that you are, which is, I'm going to teach you how to learn how to work with your own body and learn how to do this and do that. That's what you actually do. So remember that your business, everybody's business is an experiment. It's a hypothesis. So it's not always, let me just get in here and find something that somebody will just take whatever this. No, we got to train. I'm looking for, my hypothesis is that people will pay me to show up in this. So like you're saying the right thing, but I'm meeting us in the middle, right? You got to find that entry place, that balance point between what they think they need and want and what they actually need. But you don't go so far down the rabbit hole of what they think they want that you're not building towards the viable
I think about
version of your business.
Your first 100-day challenge. You were very hip hop for us. Like you weren't like, and I'm pretty sure some things you're learning, some things you're coming to epiphanies with, but I'm pretty sure you knew all of this stuff already. But you met us where we were at. You met us where we were at.
Yeah, but my format didn't change though. My format didn't change.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying I agree with you, and I don't want anybody to go too far down the rabbit hole the other way. Meaning, I'm not now all of a sudden I'm just gonna pull up on y'all. I'm not doing anything different than what I did before. My content might be different, but my format didn't change. If that makes sense.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Claire.
Appreciate. I was just piggybacking on LaTanya and just sharing encouragement, because it encouraged me when she shared that that question. Because even I still speak to women, you know, people still go in my inbox, or they might deal with stuff because they see a lot of my old stuff from Instagram or TikTok when I spoke on, you know, like narcissism and different stuff like that, my personal page on Instagram. But like, you know, and I'm realizing that it's like we respond to the glitz and glamour. You know, it's like it's almost like people think you made it if you show up all your material or your marketing looks just like everybody else's. And so I think sometimes when I would look at other people's stuff for a form of inspiration, instead of it inspiring me, it ended up making me feel like, man, my stuff is not good enough, or I'm not good enough when not, you know. And so I had to start defeating those things. And, you know, Doll, you've been helping me look at myself, you know, and to say, stop thinking like that, get out that energy. Don't let that pull you down. So there are people, because even when I started speaking, when really posting more in 23 and 22, I have been posting for a minute, but there are women out there that really do want to do the shadow work, that really want to do the healing. You know, just continue to be yourself, LaTanya. Just be yourself, and just the right people will gravitate. Don't worry about it. I look at it as the enemy trying to make you, just as I'm encouraging myself, that's the enemy trying to make you think that you're not worthy or you're not good enough when you're more than good enough. You know, the things that you've overcome and overcame, and, you know, and even helped other people. So don't allow the enemy to come and pull you away and make you think that you're not, because you are more than. So as I'm encouraging you, I'm encouraging myself even more, even from what Doll has poured into both of us over the years. And so even though our people think glitz and glam means you made it, but really, I can actually give you statistics that I've been, you know, like I said, I've been studying all this stuff for a while, even healing trauma. You know, I can share stuff, you need facts, but the statistics are between 45 women between the ages of 45 and 62 are ready to heal. That's why a lot of them in this era aren't wanting to date, and it's not that they don't want to, but they're ready to break generational curses, inner childhood traumas. They're really ready to face this so they can heal and become whole within themselves. And they realize those things are what has been stopping them and holding them back from fulfilling everything they need to be fulfilling in their lives. And that's why I was sharing with you, read about the parentified daughter, read about breaking people pleasing, read about the fawning, because all that ties into childhood stuff. That's why a lot of the women, especially in that generation, they didn't believe in, you know, you had to realize their parents didn't believe in counseling or therapy. It was taboo. And so that means it bled down to them. So we just did what we needed to do. There was we talked about ourselves. We were conditioned to abandon ourselves. We were conditioned to do a lot of things, thinking that that's what we were supposed to do in such a patriarchal society. And so just know that you're amazing, you're great, you're powerful, just like we all are. And just, you know, Doll is just an amazing messenger, and just, you know, been anointed to do this work to help us, you know. And so I just wanted to encourage you, and just know that you encourage me.
Love that. I love that. Thank you. Absolutely. And that's the other thing I want you to think about, LaTanya, since we're on this topic. Okay, like they go to the brunches and the little events and things, right? That's what you're saying. And guess what? They know what that is.
They're going to all of the theme colored parties, and they're mean girls, and they're not healed. They're not supportive of one another.
Mean girls, yes.
circle that they can dress up and have fun, but they're not here.
Yeah. Now, some of those, okay, this is how I would think about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of those people are not your clients.
That's what I thought. All I need is my tribe.
You see what I'm saying? We don't want that. We don't want everybody. It's a whole lot of entrepreneurs. I'm good. I'm actually good on that. I don't want to work with everybody. It's the ones who are ready and seeking. And you can tell them right away. If they don't want an authentic connection, that's not your person.
That's not my person. That's the only thing that's missing, my little tribe.
That's it. That's it. And so they know what a brunch is. They know what everybody wear purple tea party is. They know what that stuff is. Our job is to give them real clarity about what we do, which is usually hasn't been done before. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so the more they learn that narrative, your tribe they'll be like, I want to see what she's doing over there.
And I'll be just fine.
That's it. That's it.
That I did a quick question. I was just thinking, like we were talking about the mean girls. I said, it's almost like, how you do like she'll hold a really nice, exquisite party, and then people will come out, but then when she speaks, it's shocking. So it'll already cause the trash to take itself out, and those that remain will be her tribe. I just thought about that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You think it's gonna be one way, and a person starts speaking, you're like, what? And then some people that ain't ready for that talk, they get up and leave. But the people that was meant to hear it are the ones that stay. So that just made me think of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last thing I'll say about that, and that's for everybody too. Some of the kind of, we call it glitz or glamour, or the big fancy events, and people going on retreats and doing all type of stuff. A lot of that is step 7 and 8 on the roadmap. Whether they followed the roadmap or not, a lot of when you got production and you got everything exactly the way you want it in your events, we're gonna get there. All of us will get there.
Honestly, that's what I want.
Yeah,
eventually
we'll get there. But this part can't be replicated. Anybody can go and hire an event planner and put a bunch of balloons and colors and all kind of cool stuff. But what you want right now, this is why I talk so much. We want to optimize for not people who come because it's woo. We want to optimize for people who come because you have figured out how to communicate what it is they're coming to. That's IP. That can't be replicated. If you figure that out now and you can build something that people are drawn to now, that's a valuable asset that cannot be replicated. And then when you go, and now you got enough revenue and enough people, now you got a budget, and you can do all the stuff and have all the balloons and have all the, we're going to have that too. I'm not saying we don't want that. I'm just saying this part is what makes your business distinct from any other. You become one of one when you do this part. So thank y'all for being brave and being on this journey and being willing to dig in and do this part. Because that nobody can take away. Those people are a dime a dozen. She'll be here this week. Next 2 months from now, it'll be somebody else doing parties. And then they'll go into that one. Then somebody else will say, oh, Cam Newton is my cousin. And then they'll run to his event. And then somebody else. I mean, it's a hustle. I have no time to be in the hustle game, the hustle streets. One event, the next event. The next event, there's no connection. They're just showing up. Do you want to be in the business of being hookah lounge and juicy crab? Because that is a business model. If that's your business model, okay, let's talk about that. But I'm hearing that you guys want to be in the business of transformation and community building. So that's a different approach. Most of my people who are hosting events, some of my people who I keep talking about who have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media, Instagram specifically, but they can't get anybody to show up at their events, it's because they don't want to do this part that I'm teaching you guys. They don't want to do this work. So it's like, why should I come to your event versus the next event? You competed with 27,937 events in the city of Atlanta. So it's just, I'll be here this week, then I'll be somewhere next week, then I'll be at this one for a couple months, then I'll go jump to the next one. That's not sustainable. That's a revolving door. That's why the place that should not be named is struggling like they are, because they never did this part. They just want to, woo, glitz, woo, glamour, woo, famous person, woo. That's why that conference, that's the biggest Black entrepreneurship conference every summer, it's a revolving door. They churn people out. And that's why it never grows bigger than 20, 25,000. They capped right there because people who've been 2-3 years, spend all this money, I'm not going back to that. It's not worth it. So they can't keep the people. So they have to churn new people in there. That's exhausting. It's not sustainable. But it's a hustle. It looked good until it's not. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns, challenges, perspective, feedback, personal story time before we go. I love it here. Thank y'all for allowing me to do this work. It's really amazing. Next 100-day challenge, I have something exciting for you because we're going to learn how to show up as CEOs all the time. It's going to be a challenge for you. It's going to be good though. But tomorrow I'm going to teach you these 3 sentences that you are going to be able to turn any conversation into a connection. What we doing? we working together now. What we doing? And it will be it'll feel very natural to you. It'll help you to kind of control any room that you're in without feeling any way. And I hopefully will put the pieces together because there's a difference between I'm in customer discovery, I'm here to learn, I want to really glean and hear what you got going on versus this is what I have to offer you. Are you ready to take this step with me and have a transition? What are we doing? Transformation is here. Are you ready? That's the posture of somebody who's about to make a sale. So we're going to get into that tomorrow. Looks like all hearts and minds are clear. So we'll do this again tomorrow, y'all. Until then, I gotta go. We gotta go. I'm out.